News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Missoula police are reporting a second rape that occurred over the weekend. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Thursday, October the 1st. 2015. Pretty warm out there right now. It's partly cloudy. We have 53 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Office Solutions and Services, your exclusive Sharp dealer. Missoula police now investigating a second case of sexual assault alleged to have occurred last weekend. Missoula Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh has more.
It was reported Tuesday morning, but it actually occurred last weekend between Friday night, Saturday morning. 20-year-old female reported that she had been out with a couple of male acquaintances, and after the evening ended, they came back to his house where he forced her to have sex with him against her will.
This is a different rape than the one that the University of Montana campus police responded to. It was also reported to have occurred between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Welsh was asked why there was a delay in the reporting of this incident.
I don't have that information, but trauma can sometimes delay people's decision to come forward. It's a very difficult thing for some victims to do, and it takes them a little while to build up that courage.
The male was also in his early 20s. This incident occurred on Craftsman's Place, which is not far from the 3rd and Reserve. Police could not confirm whether either of the individuals involved were students at UM. State regulators have indefinitely suspended the license of a southwestern Montana doctor for continuing to practice medicine without meeting the requirements of a probationary license. Chris Christensen's license was suspended in April of 2014 after an investigation found he overprescribed narcotic pain medication to patients, including 2 who died of drug overdoses. In August, Christensen was charged with 400 felonies, including 2 counts of negligent homicide for the overdose deaths. He has pleaded not guilty. The board held an emergency meeting Tuesday and suspended Christensen's license again after learning he was refilling patients' prescriptions for non-narcotic medication without seeing them and without another doctor's supervision. Prosecutors say they'll recommend a sentence of 20 years for a former Livingston and Billings West High School teacher and basketball coach who pleaded guilty to sexually exploiting children and distributing child pornography. The Billings Gazette newspaper reports 42-year-old Scott Nichols is scheduled to be sentenced October 7th for his guilty pleas to 2 counts of coercion and enticement, 2 counts of attempted coercion, and 1 count of child pornography distribution. Mineral County is reeling from the news that Tricon Timber, a major employer, would be laying off 90 full-time workers. Department of Labor and Industry senior economist Barbara Wagner says the layoffs are unlikely to make a big dent in the state's overall job picture, but they will have a big local impact.
It's going to be a big hit for Mineral County. A layoff of about 90 workers, that represents about 8% of their total employment in the county, and about 10% of the private employment. So that's a pretty big hit to the community, and it's not just the workers in that industry that will be affected.
Tricon management has cited the expiring softwood lumber agreement with Canada as one of the reasons for the layoffs. That agreement will come to an end Tuesday, October 13th, and will allow Canada to ship lumber to the U.S. duty-free. Wagner says if layoffs are indeed trade-related, there may be extra funds available to help workers.
We do have some programs that are available. It's a federal program called the Trade Adjustment Assistance, and where workers are laid off for trade agreements and issues like this, then it helps get workers retrained into other industries that they have interest in, and it provides a little additional assistance than the typical dislocated worker.
The Department of Labor and Industry sent job service workers to Mineral County this week to help coach workers through the layoffs. Anyone with questions or in need of assistance can call the Missoula Job Service, 728-7060. A letter that was sent out Monday by the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Involvement at the University of Montana explained to chapters on campus of their concerns about, quote, the state of the community, end quote, after homecoming weekend. It also told chapters from Monday now through the end of October, each house is on social probation. Vice President of Integrated Communications Peggy Kaur has more.
There were concerns related to drinking There were concerns related to disorderly conduct, whether it's joking or, serious uncivil discussion. And there were concerns from neighbors, frankly, to the houses we have in the university neighborhood. When you start to see a pattern or a number of small concerns come forward, then it's time to be responsive and take action.
Kerr says chapters and Greek members seem to be responding well and are reinforcing that decision.
The decision was that this is a time not to be serving alcohol at any of those social events to any of the students who are over 21, and obviously not to anyone underage. The focus could really turn to mission, role, expectations, being good neighbors to the university community, to Missoula, and to the campus.
A President's Council meeting was held last night to address the issue and how the Greek community, as well as each individual chapter, can move forward. Attorney General Tim Fox announced yesterday Montana has joined several other states and the District of Columbia to launch an investigation into Volkswagen for altering software to produce false results on vehicle emissions tests.
It tricks the emissions testing apparatus from thinking that the emissions equipment is actually working when, in fact, when it's disconnected from the emissions test, it goes right back to spewing out up to 40 times the emissions.
Fox said he has directed his staff to join the investigation to ensure that Montana citizens who have purchased Volkswagen products will be protected from any fraudulent actions.
They make their purchasing decisions for these big-ticket items like vehicles based on a number of factors, not the least of which is how fuel-efficient they are and how environmentally friendly they are. And Montanans particularly, I think, are sensitive to those issues.
Find links on our website, newstalkkgvo.com, as to where to find the vehicles that are affected and to report any problems to the Office of Consumer Protection. The SageGrouse provision, backed by Republican U.S. Representative Rob Bishop of Utah, had been approved in May by the House as part of a $612 billion defense policy bill. Bishop's office said Wednesday the measure was left out of a House-Senate compromise on the defense bill. The Interior Department said last week sage-grouse don't need Endangered Species Act protections, but the agency adopted plans that limit oil and gas drilling, mining, and other activities within the sage-grouse's 11-state range. Officials in Idaho and Nevada and some mining companies have sued Interior Secretary Sally Jewell over what they call the sagebrush shakeup. Our news talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Cloudier and cooler in the Missoula Valley today. Highs will be in the lower 70s with a slight chance of a shower, just some light rain. Not too much to worry about. I'm meteorologist Matt Gray for KECI 13.